Sports Egg Bowl Special is brought to you by OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, Bank First, a better way to bank, Evans Plumbing and AC, Bill Cunningham, Attorney at Law, Generations Care LLC, The Granite Guys, and Visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
Welcome into the 2018 Egg Bowl Special. It's a day that we know emotions are flying high and battles are going to be fought, something that dates back to 100 years in time that you can't really compare to the rest of the season. I'm Courtney Robb. We've got a great game coming up tomorrow, and like I said, emotions are running high in this one. Head coach Joe Moorhead touches on that just a little bit.
Get emotional. People sometimes take it too far. It goes back for a long time from before I even started watching football. So it's a big game to me.
This game has all the ingredients of what makes college football and a great rivalry special. Two great opponents, proximity, familiarity, tradition, history, and really, quite frankly, most importantly, a lot of players from the state who have played with or against each other, and I think that's what makes this game unique and special.
Head coach Joe Moorhead touched on it just a little bit, but that this game means more than just the emotions, but it dates back for centuries and centuries, from players to coaches. Head coach Mac Luke knows especially what that's like, and the Rebels feel the exact same way.
It's always been important in my family ever since I can remember. Again, this is not my second Egg Bowl; it's my 42nd, but again, it's always something that means a lot, and it's very, very important for the senior class to go out on a winning note in this game.
Growing up in the state of Mississippi, it's one game you look forward to, whether it's on Thanksgiving or whether it's on Saturday. I mean, it's just a special time. Like I always talk about, me and my cousin Jesse, he plays for Mississippi State. Just a great rivalry, man. It's a fun to go out there and play against Mississippi kids, and just the time that you have with each other, man. I mean, it's a game with great edge. I mean, it's a passion game.
There's definitely passion there. We'll have more coming up from the 2018 Egg Bowl Special right after the break. Stick with us.
Our 2018 WCBI Egg Bowl Special. Got a great guest here today with us. Joining us is 2012 Jim Thorpe Award winner, Mississippi State Bulldog defensive back from 2009 to 2012, and most importantly, East Webster Wolverine. Jonathan Banks here visiting us. Jonathan, thanks for taking some time with us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's get right into it, Jonathan. As a kid who grew up in Mississippi, you went to Mississippi State. What did the Egg Bowl mean to you?
This game, it pretty much means the world. It's like our national championship here. Between us and those guys up north, it's an awesome atmosphere. It means so much. I lose a couple of friends a couple of days before and after the Egg Bowl, but it's awesome. Great environment. It's great all around.
When you see guys, obviously, a lot of the guys from State and Ole Miss, they play each other, with each other, against each other all throughout high school. Is it almost like an added rivalry of you want to get bragging rights on some guys that you played against and with?
Yeah, it's always good for bragging rights, but in today's game, I think the fans, more importantly, make this game so much more than what it really is. You get on Twitter and things like that. It's crazy. Back when I played, they actually made a song out for this game, and so just all that added pressure on the guys, and just make them want it a little bit more and make the game more intense.
Speaking of taking a look at the video on the board right now, tied for the all-time interceptions lead at Mississippi State. You played for some great defensive teams. When you look at the Mississippi State team of this year, how would you think those guys stacked up in terms of Bulldog defenses over the years?
Well, honestly, I think it's one of the top 2 or 3 defenses to ever be put on maroon and white uniform. I know I never played on defense at Mississippi State that was as good, as talented as this defense. You got guys like Simmons and Sweat, not just those guys, but the backups. The backups come in the game, the 2s and 3s come in the game and don't miss a beat. And I'm a defensive back, so I look at those guys like Jamal and Cam. Those are like my little brothers. I keep up with them daily. And Jonathan Abraham, I'm not as close to him, but I still consider him as a friend. And Maurice and those guys, everybody steps up. This defense is really really good.
When you look back on your time at the Egg Bowl, 3-1 as a Mississippi State Bulldog against Ole Miss, what is one thing, maybe what is one Egg Bowl memory that you'll always have for the rest of your life?
I can remember as a junior coming into this game, Dante Moncrief, really good player. He came in, had a lot of hype. I was matched up on the whole game. He had no catches, no yards, so I was pretty excited about that. And I made one big hit on Brandon Bolden, a good friend of mine who played in the NFL, to stop a big 4th down play. You know, it was fun. I'm excited for Thursday.
As you spent some time in the NFL, does the Egg Bowl rivalry go with you even when you get into an NFL locker room, when you meet up with guys who are former Bulldogs and Rebels?
It never stops. Throughout life, yeah, I got my son, he hates Ole Miss. I don't know if I should say that. He's 7. And it started at an early age, and it never stops. It's a lifetime.
And so going off of that, you're an East Webster Wolverine. I got to show you, man. We got some old file footage of you at East Webster. I got to say, I was really impressed with the arm. You're a high school quarterback, and now you're the leading was your adjustment from quarterback, did that help you as a DB at all?
Well, yeah.
Man, I mean, look at this one.
played.
You got the sling here. You got the cannon. Look at that, man. That's placed on a dime.
It was good. I had fun playing quarterback. I always thought I would go to Mississippi State and be a quarterback until I got there. It's a different world playing quarterback on that level, but it did help me a lot just because I was more athletic than everybody. I'm not saying that in a cocky way, but, you know, how I always felt, you always want your best player playing quarterback in high school. I felt like I was the best player on my team. My coaches felt like that. Even my teammate felt like that, but it did help me transition into being an All-American Jim Thorpe Award winner in college. So I'm blessed to be able to be in a position just to carry that on and, you know, just have fun doing it.
So you were a maroon and white guy in high school, maroon and white in college. So if you had to tell me what's your pick for Thursday? What do you think happens?
You can throw out the records. You can throw out Ole Miss suck on defense. Just being honest, you can throw all that out. It's gonna be a game. I still feel like with the way our defense plays, the way Ole Miss offense plays, they're explosive on offense, we're explosive on defense. It's gonna be a football game. It's gonna be one exciting. I don't think it comes down to the wire. I feel like we're a much better football team. Not speaking from a fan or a player, just being honest. I feel like we're a much better football team. We have a much better coaching staff, and I feel like we'll be better prepared. And I take us by 17.
Three scores.
3 scores.
Like, I mean, you heard it here first from Jonathan Banks. He's riding with the Bulldogs on Thursday. Jonathan, again, thanks for your time. We appreciate you having here.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back with more from the WCBI Egg Bowl Special.
To the 2018 Egg Bowl Special, Courtney Robb, and joining me today is a man of many different titles. We have Columbus head football coach, former Ole Miss tight end Eric Rice, joining us to talk some Ole Miss football heading into the Egg Bowl this week. Eric, thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you having me, and we're excited about the Egg Bowl as we are every year. So looking to dig in.
Eric, your story is a little bit interesting because you grew up in Starkville, but you're one of the few people that grows up in Starkville and actually goes and plays for Ole Miss. So I've got to ask, did you grow up as a Mississippi State fan?
Yes, I did. My dad worked at Mississippi State for over 30-some years, and growing up, Mississippi State was all I knew. I'll never forget, he worked the ball games, and he would bring big things, the hot dogs home for us to eat. And so I definitely grew up a Mississippi State fan. Actually didn't even know anything about Ole Miss or didn't know Ole Miss existed until I started getting recruited.
So then flash forward to where all you know about your rival is starting to recruit you. One of the few guys, like I mentioned, who's gone from living in Starkville to playing for Ole Miss. We have A.J. Brown right now, who's been, completely dominant for them. Mm-hmm. But What was that like growing up, thinking that this one team is just the enemy to going and playing then for that school?
It definitely was a eye-opening experience for me because, like I said, growing up, Mississippi State was all I knew. Like I said, I knew that's where my dad worked, and that's how we was going to eat, and so I was a Bulldog to the heart. And then to move to the point to where to meet Coach Rich Bisaccia was the coach that recruited me from Ole Miss, and getting to know things about Oxford and Ole Miss, it just drew me that way, and obviously the rest is history.
So during that time that you played, I'm not from here, but what I've heard is that the Egg Bowl kind of carries this different vibe than all the other games, that nothing else matters during the season, records and all of that doesn't matter. Is that true, would you say?
That's definitely true. That's one of them things where, when Ole Miss and Mississippi State get together, you can throw the records out the window because you're playing against your friends, you're playing against people that you played against in high school. In my case, I ended up signing with Ole Miss. One of my teammates signed with Mississippi State. So when you're coming home, it's bragging rights and those type things, and you don't want to let your family down, you don't want to let your friends down, you don't want to let your town down, which for me became a struggle because my town now was Oxford, and even though I was from Starkville, when I came back home, I wanted to be able to kind of poke my chest out and let them know I had got the best of them. So it's definitely one of those games where the records go out of the window. You're gonna lay it on the line for your team.
So having this game in Oxford this year, even though Ole Miss has kind of struggled a little bit this season, especially defensively, we've seen them get explosive on offense. Do you think against this Mississippi State team that would be, enough, especially being at home, to take the win in this one and, have that 6-6 season?
Well, I think the great motivation for Ole Miss this year is, just like it was last year, is that this is our bowl game. This is where we get to make our mark and finish off our season in the right way. I know Coach Matt Luke, he kind of pushed together this deal during the week to make it feel like a bowl game. And I know that the players and the coaches on that staff are going to take heed to this. And like I say, nothing else, just to have the bragging rights to say we won this ball game would mean the world, not only to those players and the coaches, but to us alumni of Ole Miss that we finished the season off the right way, and in order to move forward going next year when we will be bowl eligible again and kind of gain some momentum going forward.
So you've got the gear on to rep your team, the Rebel gear. I know you're probably picking Ole Miss as your prediction, but you got a score prediction for us?
I do. I really feel like this game, the last couple of games, we've kind of struggled in the red zone a little bit, but I think this week we're going to put it together, and we're really going to score some points. So I think, this is my prediction, I think Ole Miss 45 to Mississippi State 35.
Oh, so you're a high-scoring game.
Yes, a high-scoring game. We struggle a little bit on defense, so, I'm not going to go on the limb and say we're going to stop them, but I don't think they're going to stop us either. So that's why I say 45 to 35.
Well, Ole Miss, they definitely have the ability for their offense to get hot, but thanks so much for your insight and coming in and joining us today. Eric Rice, Courtney Robb, we'll have more of the Egg Bowl special coming up for you after the break. Stick with us. Welcome back to the 2018 Egg Bowl special. Courtney Robb here, back on your camera, and joining me in studio today, commercial dispatch reporter, Mississippi State beat writer, Brett Hudson. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
We see a lot of each other.
We do. Brett is also my co-host on the Straight Sippin' podcast, so we get a lot of each other, and we talk a lot of Mississippi State and Ole Miss, and that's what we're going to do right now. So, Brett, you've been watching both of these teams all season long. I've been watching them all season long. But what are your first impressions of how Thursday is just going to turn out?
Ole Miss needs to score because they do this thing where they allow opponents to score, probably more than they should.
They do.
And their red zone offense has been problematic recently. The Vanderbilt game was an obvious example of that, where they went 1 for 7 touchdowns in the red zone, I believe. So if they can put some points on the board in the red zone, that would be a huge start, because they're going to need some early in this game.
But going up against such a tough defense in Mississippi State, Ole Miss, they've seen good defenses all season long, obviously, Alabama, LSU, but this is a different kind of game, and they're coming in their home, and it's senior day, and you don't want to let this defense completely roll over you, but we've seen what Mississippi State can do.
Yeah, I mean, this defense is first in the nation in touchdowns allowed in the red zone. They only allow opponents to score touchdowns 25% of the time in the red zone. The flip side of that is only Oklahoma has more plays of 20 yards than Ole Miss, and Ole Miss leads the nation in plays of 30 yards or more. So they can move the ball in chunks. It's just a question of whether those chunks score or whether those chunks get you in the red zone. Because if they get you in the red zone with recent performance, there's no guarantee that's going to turn into points. And with the defense that Ole Miss has played so far this year, you need 7, not 3.
So it kind of seems like it's almost in the bag for Mississippi State. But if there was something that you thought they had to worry about going into Oxford on Thursday, what would you say that was?
The jostling in the secondary, mostly with Brian Cole out for the year at nickel and his replacement, Jaquarius Landrews, questionable to say the least for this game. They've moved a strong safety, Jonathan Abram, to that spot. And they put C.J. Morgan, who played pretty well in that spot too. But behind Jonathan Abram is a true freshman, Marcus Murphy, playing in his first Egg Bowl of his career, West Point product. So you wonder how a kind of patchwork secondary comes up against arguably one of the best wide receiving corps in the nation. They performed pretty well in their current configuration, but this is a different challenge.
Well, we'll have to see how it turns out and who gets the dub, but we'll have more coming up for you after the break. Stick with us. Welcome back to the 2018 Egg Bowl Special, and congrats to Monica Hollingshed from Starkville for winning a pair of tickets to the Egg Bowl in Oxford. We hope that you have a great time on Thursday and a great Thanksgiving, and to everyone else as well. But that's going to be it for the 2018 Egg Bowl Special. If you're looking for more content, you can go and check out the Straight 7 podcast. But that's going to be it. Have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you back here next time.
WCBI Sports Egg Bowl Special is brought to you by OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, Bank First, a better way to bank, Evans Plumbing and AC, Bill Cunningham, Attorney at Law, Generations Care LLC, The Granite Guys, and Visit Columbus, the city that has it all.